Hi.
Hello.
4 episodes in one day. Y'all real MVP. Nobody's watching
Nobody's.
episodes. Should though.
Truly.
Just don't do your job
Mm-hmm.
and watch us record our episodes.
I
all
agree.
day long.
Quit your job, actually. Ask for
Quit.
Mondays off.
Yeah.
Just don't work.
Give myself Mondays off.
Oh, yeah. Like, what do I need for this?
What do I need to make this not be so... There we go.
That guy, maybe?
So handy. I always think it's that guy, but it's like
Maybe
this.
it's also, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do. This is just a hello, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How... I did it wrong.
Oh, no.
This problem. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
This is Marin.
This is Emily.
And this is
Remember
Harry
Potter.
And on today's episode, I just had a thought. I was like, did we do that on the last episode?
We did.
We did. I remember now.
Mm-hmm.
On this episode of Remember Harry Potter, we are discussing, Tom Riddle.
The big bad.
The biggest, baddest.
Mm-hmm. Worstest.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So Tom Riddle, because we are in Chamber of Secrets, which is book 2, and we are just barely meeting him, and where we are meeting him in his timeline is when he was in high school. He was probably a 5th year or a 6th year-ish. He was older than Harry is, definitely. And so that's all we're going to talk about is his years of Hogwarts, because we don't want to go too far back, because we also cover that in later books, and we don't want to go too far forward because we cover that in later books. So this is what we're doing today.
And there is a lot that happens while he's at Hogwarts, too, so buckle up.
Yeah. So, Hogwarts years, 1938 to 1945. This guy old as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I think my dad was born in 1938, and he's old. All right, so Riddle was educated at Hogwarts from 1938 to 1945 and was sorted into Slytherin House, a nod to his ancestor, Salazar Slytherin. During summer breaks, he was forced to return to the Muggle orphanage, which he despised and dreaded more than any other place on Earth. Riddle described the way he was seen as poor but brilliant, parentless but so brave, a school prefect, a model student. Don't ever talk about yourself like that. Please don't. No matter how many, what is it we're supposed to write in theater? They're like, write a bio. And I'm like, I don't like writing bios because it's just me bragging about myself. Now I sound like Tom Riddle. I should write that, actually.
Not to sound like Tom Riddle, but I am a great actress.
My next bio, I'm just going to put this quote. Poor but brilliant, parentless but so brave, a school prefect, a model student.
Good idea.
Due to his exceptional acting abilities, he is an actor too, he was able to convince virtually all... I think that this is more due to his psychopathic abilities, not his acting abilities. He was able to convince virtually all of the Hogwarts staff and instructors that this facade was his true personality. The sole exception to this was Dumbledore, who, though not necessarily suspicious of Riddle, never forgot about his misdeeds at the orphanage, nor his unsettling behavior during their first meeting. In turn, Riddle realized that he had been careless in showing Dumbledore his true character upon their first meeting and never attempted to win him over as he had with his other instructors. In time, he came to fear and despise Dumbledore. I find that so interesting because there are sometimes, like when I used to work at the school with the kids, we would sometimes get a student in our acting classes who would really present as like having psychopathic tendencies, and every time I would immediately just be like, And those kids never did anything to impress me because they learned immediately that I wasn't going to fall for it. And so I wasn't even on their radar.
That is interesting. Another thing that I find weird is that during Hogwarts, Tom creates this cult and these very, very loyal friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yet never once does he go to a friend's house to stay for the summer.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Ugh.
And that's just very interesting because that seems like if he is so desperate not to go back to the orphanage that he is like writing letters to the headmaster asking to just stay at Hogwarts for the summer, why would he also not be trying to influence his connections to go and stay with them?
He cannot have an actual connection with a human. Gnarly. One more paragraph and then I'll hand this over. Over time, Riddle gathered to himself a gang of Slytherin thugs, a motley composition of, quote, the weak seeking protection. He's such an asshole. The ambitious seeking some shared glory, and the thuggish gravitating toward a leader who could show them more refined forms of cruelty, unquote. Most of which would become the first Death Eaters. Riddle claimed they were his friends and made it appear so in public, but in truth, they amounted to little more than servants, and he cared almost nothing for them. He often manipulated them into committing petty crimes and other misdeeds, but none of these incidents were reliably traced back to the group. What Emily said.
It's just like
he never had a friend.
They're so off his radar of being like an option that he like just doesn't even consider it.
They're not even humans to him.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I should have scrolled.
That's okay. Okay, opening the Chamber of Secrets. Upon arriving at Hogwarts, Riddle became obsessed with his heritage and began researching it with an insatiable hunger. He focused solely on the identity of his father, thinking him to be the magical parent, as he felt his mother could not have been a witch if she had died. He searched for his father's name in the school trophy room, in the records of Hogwarts prefects, and in records of wizarding history, but found nothing to suggest that his father had even attended Hogwarts. He was eventually forced to accept that his father was the Muggle parent, and that his mother was the magical one. It was around this time that Riddle gave himself the alias Lord Voldemort to spare himself the reminder of his filthy Muggle father. Using his middle name, Marvolo, which was taken from his maternal grandfather, Riddle discovered his mother's heritage and the Gaunt's bloodline connection with Salazar Slytherin. Once Riddle learned of his ancestry, it was not long before he discovered the existence of the Chamber of Secrets under Hogwarts during his 5th year and tamed the basilisk which dealt within. As the heir of Slytherin, through his mother's family, Tom was able to open the chamber Slytherin had left behind in order to, quote, purge the school of all those who were unworthy to study magic, end quote.
Nerds.
In Riddle's and Slytherin's eyes,
Ugh.
Muggleborns.
Gross. So, but you're telling me is that because he is the direct heir of Slytherin, which is so interesting that that's like nobody at the school nowadays could find that information, but he was able to find it. He can speak snake language, parcel mouth, and that's why he was able to open the chamber when nobody else could.
Yeah, you have to be an heir, and the only reason Harry gets around that is because
he can speak.
He has part of Riddle in his body,
okay,
right?
Yeah,
and therefore has the ability to talk to the snake and whatever. But I feel like had Riddle not done this research and found out about it, he wouldn't have searched for this. And had Harry not become a Horcrux, he wouldn't have been able to.
Is there more information?
There is more under this.
Okay.
Around the 13th of June, 1943, the basilisk injured many at Hogwarts, with its last victim being a student named Myrtle Warren, who was killed in the girls' bathroom when she saw the basilisk's yellow eyes. In light of this incident, the Hogwarts Board of Governors decided that Hogwarts was to be closed. During that year, Riddle made a special request that the headmaster, Armando Dippet, would allow him to stay at school over the summer break. However, Dippet informed him of the governor's decision and denied his request. So that's where we're at in the story right now.
Here's what I am very interested in learning about, and I don't know if we ever get to, because I just don't even know if this information is out there. But when and how was he doing all of this research? Because it feels to me like either it was easily accessible at Hogwarts, or he was able to get away somehow and go somewhere else to find this information about his lineage. Or he was like getting it from one of the teachers who was just like unwittingly like, oh yeah, I'm really good at genealogy and I've traced everybody all the way back to the founding fathers or whatever. Like I would love to know where and when he was doing all this research, because as far as I can tell, he was either at Hogwarts or at the orphanage. And the orphanage was not conducive to him learning about his witchy stuff. And so I'm like really intrigued to know how he was finding this information. Like, how did he even know about the Chamber of Secrets? That was like something that Salazar Slytherin probably. So like he made the chamber and he told the other headmasters, but nobody else knew about it. I'm just like,
I think
so curious.
He's definitely doing research all of the above ways, but I feel like it's like anytime they're allowed to go to Hogsmeade, he's just
at the library.
He's
somewhere
finding people.
Well, and if he's
letters.
Down at Nocturne Alley, there's probably some weird information he can get down there from people who he wouldn't be able to get at the school or whatever.
Well, and we know that he's doing like really shady shit while he's still a student because of the next section, which we'll get to. So let me finish this out here. So, realizing that the chamber would need to be closed and the culprit caught in order to keep the school open and not have to return permanently to the orphanage, Riddle framed fellow student Rubius Hagrid and his pet acromantula Aragog. He convinced Dippet that Aragog was the monster that had terrorized the school. Hagrid was expelled, and Riddle received an engraved trophy for special services to the school. Dumbledore, who did not believe that Hagrid was responsible for the killing, managed to arrange for him to be kept on as Hogwarts groundskeeper. Distrusting Riddle, Dumbledore kept an annoyingly close watch on him after that. Due to this, Riddle realized that he would not be able to risk opening the chamber while still a student. As such, he would use this murder to eventually preserve a part of his soul within his own school diary, the very first of his 7 Horcruxes, hoping it would one day lead someone to finish Salazar Slytherin's, quote, noble work.
Okay, so I have 2 things that I want to talk about these things. Okay. What year did that happen?
1943.
So he was a 5th year. So my first question is like, because he's a 5th year, is that why he's like too nervous about not having somewhere to go? Because he's still only like 15. So if he can't come back to Hogwarts because it's closed, and he doesn't have anywhere else to go, he's going to have to go back to the orphanage. But I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, at 15 in 1943, you're basically a man, right? You're kind of
I would be
adult.
Curious to that because I'm like, how long technically does the orphanage have like custody over you as a minor?
Especially,
is it like till you're 17, till you're 18?
I don't know, because I just feel like a 15-year-old in 1943.
If he decided to leave the orphanage, no one would be like trying to bring him back. They'd be like, thank God he's gone.
Like they're not like he's still a child. We got to keep him here. No.
And he doesn't have any like magical tie to that place like Harry, where there's anyone like pressuring him to go check in for the summer.
So I find it incredibly interesting that he didn't just decide at 15 to leave. Like there must be some reason behind that. Like, oh, I haven't gotten all of the magical education I need yet. There's still things I need to learn, maybe. And then my second thing I was really intrigued by is that he used the murder of Moaning Myrtle. He used the murder of Myrtle to make a Horcrux of the diary. So that means the basilisk was just a weapon for him. Right. I've never thought about that before because I'm like, for me, I would be like, oh no, the basilisk murdered her.
But it was only because it was instructed.
So he told the basilisk.
He was completely in control of.
Oh, then it is him for sure.
The snake, which is kind of the interesting thing now. Like, is Ginny talking to the snake? Did Ginny wake up the basilisk and she's telling it to go in? Right?
Yeah.
It's so.
Yeah, I think so.
Creepy.
Oh my gosh, I'm horrified.
I didn't even think of that aspect of like all the things that he's having her do.
I mean, it's mind control for Ginny, so it's not like she's being like, go attack the kids, but she definitely is because it has to have like a physical form, I guess. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Creepy. Disturbing. Mm-hmm. I cannot. I'm going to be thinking about this all day. Wow.
It's a lot. Do we want to get into the next section?
What time is it? No, I got to get going.
Okay.
And I think that was good.
Yeah.
So, because we'll go over that. What was the next section even? His mom.
Him killing the Riddles.
Oh, yeah, because we talk about that at the beginning of book 3, 4?
4.
Okay, so we can do that then.
We'll circle back.
Whoa, that was a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a headache, and it's not because of these.
Yeah. There's just like so many decisions made that like don't make sense.
It only makes sense if you think to yourself that he has the biggest plan, which he does.
Yeah.
And he has to stick to the plan. Because if he wavers from the plan, he will not be in control of the wizarding world. That's the only way I can see that it makes sense.
Like he has to maintain this appearance. He has to.
And he has to stay at school.
Drop off the radar. He has to as many questions as people can't ask about like what is he doing, the better.
Yeah.
So he has to be at the orphanage all summer so he can be like, I was at the orphanage all summer.
Yeah, and if he pretends hard enough to be a good guy, he can have more and more and more control over people. Oh, horrifying. Horrifying. Terrifying. Anyway, that's it.
That's our chapter. I believe, I don't remember, is it now that we have 1 million character episodes in a row?
Yeah, we have a whole bunch and we haven't completely figured out who is going to go where, but we've got Ernie and we've got a whole bunch of people
we'll probably circle back around to our main cast of characters and check back in with them.
Older.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun. So we'll be back with the real story later, but we'd love it if you stuck with us for these next episodes.
Yep. And until next time, let's create something magical together. Bye. Do we say that together? For some reason, I'm like, let's say it together, even though we've never said it together.
I think we do sometimes. We just, whatever feels right in the moment.
We're silly.
Hi,
Paula. Well, give that baby a little smooch for me and tell her I love her. I'm happy for you.
Cute.
I would love to see a picture, too, if you don't mind. You don't have to, but I don't understand how no one noticed how much of a psychopath he was when little. I wonder if it was that's such a good point. I should have talked about it in the episode, but I wonder if it was like part of his plan, like, and the time of, like psychopaths were just running free, like freaking, that's literally Adolf Hitler time. Mm-hmm. It was like a powerful man, a powerful white man is like, that's all anybody wants.
Yeah.
Back then.
I really want to talk about the Dumbledore Tom / Dumbledore Grindelwald.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like, is he like...
Yeah.
Does he see himself in like his past relationship?
Oh, my goodness.
And that's just really messy because Tom's 15 and Dumbledore's old as heck already. But he's still got some red in his beard, but
he doesn't like... Yeah, this is going to be interesting to talk about. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't have very clear boundaries with students, which is inappropriate and gross.
Yeah.
Sorry, I only caught the end. Thank you so much for doing Harry Potter. I've been going through withdrawal. Oh, yay. I'm glad to do it. I know. I actually, on the way back home this morning after dropping my little girl off at school, I got so hyped about recording today. I was like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good to be back. Thanks for the picks.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.